Updated general hero tier list for the month of February 2024 for the game King God Castle. I update this tier list every single month, so be sure to subscribe to keep up with that. And in this one, I'll be ranking the newest hero, Seirang, as well. Hey, Nob here. It is that time again. We're going to be ranking these heroes D, C, B, A, S, and we're going to be going through it by tiers as usual. I'm going to be explaining kind of why I'm putting them in those tiers in the first place. Of course, this is not a specific mode, so if you want a specific mode, either look forward to that on my Patreon, or the next best way is to go to the official King God Castle Discord and ask around. But don't let the haters say you cannot do a general hero tier list for this game, and that is why you're here. It's your boy Nob, and I have been playing the King God Castle for a while, and I am fully confident that I'm able to put these by tiers generally due to my perspective. You know, when you play this game long enough, you feel confident in placing the power rankings of these heroes, and you know, and we update it every month, so that is the joy. It never becomes static because this game changes very often, and you guys are here for that. So we're going to be going by tiers. I'm going to explain briefly why, but not, you know, I can't cover everything, guys. There are so many heroes in this game, as you can see down here. It is a good time to be a King God Castle player. So we're going to be starting with tier D. And we cannot have an opening ceremony for tier D without Daniel. You cannot have D without Daniel, boys. He is still, yes, you know, it's just like he's just gonna be D forever. But there were like I always say this when I do this, that D for Daniel, but Daniel used to be like here, like low key S rank. And were you guys any playing that long enough to know the S rank Daniel? But I guess, you know, he's D. He is memeable D. He's a meat shield, specifically meat shield, but his issue is that he is basically power crept, and there's just way more heroes in the game that are better meat shields. That's it. Like, there's little reason to use Daniel. There is like one potential use, and it is Strive Battlefield as a frontline. Very potential, but there are issues with that, and there are better options. So he's basically, his function is overshadowed by so many other heroes. So that is his main issue. Okay, that is his main issue, and he's been D for quite a while now, and I don't see it changing unless they kind of change his kit. So if there was anybody that they kind of rework, and it's probably Daniel, because Daniel, you know, he's cool. He's been a meme lord, man. He's very memeable. All right, next one in D is going to be a lot of this. If you guys have been following my monthly hero tier list, this is going to be kind of largely the same, because we did just get a hero bounce, but it didn't really shake it up too much. But it's just like the heroes that are kind of in the lower tiers and kind of mid tiers, or they're gonna stay largely the same, and then there's gonna be more movement like on the upper end, because there's so many like rotational seasonal changes, right? But yeah, next one on D is gonna be Kanak. He is like I always say, his issue is his damage is pretty good, don't get me wrong. His damage is actually pretty good, but his issue is that he is strictly single target. Like if there's any, like if you have like like 3+ mobs in front of you or whatever, he's gonna struggle. Like, his thing is that he needs to be, he's single target man, boss 1v1, and even then he's really squishy, right? But his damage is actually pretty good. Like, my usage for him really is the damage reduction on his curses. That's pretty much what I use him for, and that's like the only applicable thing right now, because otherwise he's super weak in AoE. He doesn't like, he's lacking, man. And a lot of people like to meme on him, because when he was first released, he was the first hero that was released that was absolutely garbage, like straight garbage. He was actually the first one, from my memory, as of right now at this moment. He was actually the first hiccup in the hero line, and that is why he's been memed forever. They did try to buff him, but he is still has incredible issues. So that is why he is D. Now the next one is going to be following the same kind of trends, because on her release she was actually the other hiccup. She is straight garbage, and she is kind of, you know, she's pretty bad still, and that is Ophelia. Boom. Now she is still having issues. Now Kanak is definitely better than Ophelia. Okay, I'm sorry Ophelia fans, I know her design is great, but her kit is not. So it is basically this, she's in the same boat, man. And whoever designed the design philosophy for Kanak and the design philosophy for Ophelia, whoever designed it, it's very much in the same like category. Like they feel like the philosophies that they designed with for these two heroes are very similar. And I think that archetype, I think on paper it was very good, but in execution amongst with the mix of the rest of the heroes in the game, it just doesn't fit too well. So these guys are definitely in the process of getting improved in the future. Right now they are very bad. So next one is that's it for D. And the D tier, these three guys have been staples of D tier forever. So yeah, next one we're gonna be moving on C tier. Now C tier is going to be Alberon. Now Alberon, you know, I gotta reiterate this every time I do the monthly video. Alberon, hero lock / backup, yes, but because of that, he is one of the beginning starting characters, and he's a hero log. Yeah, I get it. He's a hero lock. So since hero lock, he's in S tier right now. We are past that age, boys. And the thing that he brings, I'm assessing a lot of things in this list. I'm assessing like are they support? If they're support, what utility do they bring? If they're damage dealer, how good is their damage compared to the rest? Are they meta, quote unquote, right now? And things like that. So all because he's hero lock, cool, but I'm not weighing this. I'm not considering hero lock really. So yeah, all he brings are really good heals. You put staffs on him, and his niche unique quality is that he can overheal. So meaning that if you have a full health hero and you heal with Alberon, he will instead of healing you back up, the excess will actually be turned into shield, and you can actually stack that shield, right? And that is his draw, right? And he has raid application. If you need heals in raid, if you're getting destroyed by mage boss, you put Alberon in there to keep your units lunaires alive or whatever. So he brings heal. Pair him with Bardry, and that is usually the combo. You never usually see Alberon by himself. You usually see Alberon plus Bardry and those kind of comps relevant in armor comps and arena as well. There's a lot of applications, Tower Trials, and he is healer man. If you need heals, you got him. But other than heals, you don't see him anywhere else. He doesn't bring anything else. His awakenings are actually not great as well. So he has to be C. He has to be C. If he wasn't hero log, and if he didn't like have the overhealing factor, he's down here, man. But he is C for me. Next one is going to be Draco. I know he got buffed or whatever, right? And I love Draco. He's a dragon boy. He's a dragon man. He's I believe he's like the only dragon type archetype in the game right now, right? And I wanted a like dragon themed chapter or whatever that fits his like thing, but like he has a cool sick design. I love playing him in arena. He is mainly an arena hero, and I mean, yeah, you can do expedition goblins. Anyone can do expedition goblins now with 3 relics, right? So I'm not even considering how good your expedition goblins is, all right? That doesn't weigh too much in my opinion. But Draco, he used to be really good in arena. Right now with the S tiers, he doesn't cut it, man. He doesn't freaking cut it. And he used to be really good in arena back in the day, and now he's not as good anymore. And it's just his awakenings are, one of them is good, the other one's sucks, and he just doesn't have many usages right now, and it's just he's cool. He's a flame spitter. I know his design is cool, but his performance wise is not great, and that is why he is C. All right, next one on the list is a fan favorite. It is going to be Hanzi. Now, Hanzi is one of those heroes that new players look at this list and they're like, Hanzi is C. She is A tier at best. You put triple bows on her, you get execute. She rips through everything. Why is he C, knob? With that is lacking perspective. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know, I'm not gonna sugarcoat you guys. All right, there are way better heroes. You can say that literally about every freaking hero in this game. You put max items, 80% execute, and you have them go to town. Her issue is that her issue has always been her ramp. She is a part of this archetype in this game, design philosophy wise. The developers even mentioned it. She is a ramping type of hero, similar to Ren, for example. And Ren is very good. There are reasons why she's very good, but she is another quote unquote ramping hero that does it well. Hanzi, on the other hand, takes a little too long to ramp, and she is kind of squishy, and like it just. What she does, she's a range carry, okay? If you didn't know, she is a range carry, and for a range carry who ramps as slow as she does, it is not great, because there's so much damage in this game right now that she's just gonna get popped, right? And that is mainly her issues, and there are other range heroes that you want to go for besides Hanzi, unfortunately. Like, Hanzi is a favorite. I love Hanzi as well, okay? But in terms of the current state and how strong she is overall as compared to other heroes, she is C. The next one on the list is going to be another starter character you start off with at the very beginning. Is going to be my boy Leo, and he is a tanky beef, meat shield, similar to Daniel, and I would prefer actually Lionheart over Daniel. And he is very beefy, very, his skill, he even stuns the front of the opponent. I mean, don't get me wrong, Daniel stuns as well, but his potential abilities and things, he has like damage negation and things like that, and he is a solid tank. Now, is he going to be one of your first awaken heroes? Heck no. This is kind of the hero that you do not awaken until a lot later, okay? This is the kind of tank at the beginning where you kind of level up to 8 and you never think about him again until later. There's another tank that will be coming in the later list that I actually do recommend putting more resources into. Leo, Leo is good in the giant meta, like in high level competitive giant meta like arena. You will see Leo, okay? But that is very niche, and if you're a new player, I wouldn't put too many resources in him, and he's just a glorified like meat shield, basically a better meat shield option than Daniel for sure. Next one is going to be another hero lock character, and his arc is very interesting. It is going to be like a werewolf boy. He turns into a werewolf, and it's very cool, right? He can jump into the back line. He holds a freaking pistol. He has a skin that he like shoots a slingshot and things like that. He is very cool, but in the beginning of King God Castle, some history for you. He is mainly an arena type hero. Yes, he's a hero lock, so he's used in hero lock teams, but he is mainly used in arena in the past. I mean, even now, he was SS God tier arena. Everyone has Leica on your team. If you don't have Leica on your team in the past, then you're doing something wrong. Similar to kind of like the head-on effect, right, in the current state, but Leica used to be that hero. Over time, he got power crept, okay, and then things started getting introduced, and like he didn't really ever get nerfed. Like he kind of just got power crept, right? And that is his state. So then they introduced the arena, the buff or whatever when you're in king rank, right? The grand arena buff, and when it favors him to increase the max health, he is 100% on your freaking team. And because that increases the overall, it's because of the effect, okay? Without going into too many details, but when the Grand Arena effect is not there and it doesn't favor him, he's just C, man. He is C. He is pretty lackluster. He did receive some buffs, but you're never really going to be using him for damage, unfortunately. Yes, he has a damage awakening. No one really ever uses it. Use the other one, and his main factor is that he's able to jump straight into the back line and provide a stun, and then keep on jumping around the map and do like a chain stun effect. And that is basically his draw, right? And other than that, you don't see him used anywhere else besides like hero lock, you know. And yeah, that's Leica. Next one is going to be Nabella. Still see, man, she still she received the buff recently, right? Maybe, I mean, with the new hero Serang, she's actually not that bad, but she still has the issues. Her identity crisis, her kit is so much like some of the other heroes in the game who perform very, very well, like Zhao Bai, Kirdan, freaking Inwrath, like guys who can jump into the back line and kill your back line. There are so many other heroes in the game that can do the same thing, and she is just lacking. She has a very large mana pool as well. She doesn't have any like survivability. She just jumps around and does some AoE and just dies, right? And that is kind of like the state, right? And I mean, don't get me wrong. Okay, so I have to say this as well. Every tier list, most like 90% of the cast of King God Castle can do chapter 10 phase 15 in some way, fashion, or form. Because you can clear chapter 10 phase 15 doesn't mean you're S tier. All right, Nabella can Nabella do chapter 10 phase 15? Yeah, but is she S tier, and like, is she gonna be your main go-to farmer to farm chapter 10 15? No, because she's not gonna be the fastest, right? And that's the kind of the approach here in this tier list. Now that is C tier. Now we're gonna be going into B tier territory. Now this is mid tier. These are solid heroes that can perform in some way, okay? And there are some of these heroes, the bulk of King God Castle heroes are going to be in this B tier. And the reason why is because most heroes in this game are good. Like, they're good, man. Like, you know, like, there's not many trash heroes, and, you know, except for 3 down there, but most heroes will fall into this mid-range, and that doesn't mean they're bad guys, okay? Because they're B tier doesn't mean they're garbage. These guys can do work, and they're very amazing. And because of their function might be S tier, but just in terms of the overall the vision for this tier list, and comparatively, like, they have to be placed in B, and just considering everything. So with that out of the way, let's start. A lot of the heroes are going to be in this list. So first one is going to be Priya. A lot of people love Priya. Another hero that she's the ice mage. You know, she does AoE stun. She's cool. You know, everyone loves ice mages, and her effect is AoE stun, and it is great. You usually see her paired with Bardry. You can do like infinite stun with her. Very cool. She does a lot of burst. She received a lot of burst damage buffs over the time, and there is a lot of utility that she can and neat like strategies you can do because of her awakening 2 frost armor or whatever, right? And she has a lot of strategy to play around with, and you usually see her with Bardry, like I said, and you do, like, you know, you put that in arena, you do like perma stun builds, and it's very fun. And she is B. Otherwise you don't really see her too often, really. She has a high mana cost, and there is the new relic that gives you like more mana per hit and things like that, but just overall she is solid B. And I wouldn't go too hard on her. There are some heroes that I will put in B that will be like, you know, if it's possible, B plus, but she is not a B plus hero. She is a B for me. Now the next one is going to be probably the best meat shield hero in the game, and it's kind of like Daniel, but like a way better Daniel, and that is going to be Agathe. She has a sick battle pass skin recently too, and she is meat shield, okay? She is meat shield, a lot of freaking damage absorption for not only herself but her team as well. And I think that is one of the reasons why Daniel is all the way at the bottom, because Agathe is just better. She has one of the largest health pools, and she is super tanky. If you're running a giant composition, you want to put Agathe in there. If you want any damage negation, if you're unsure of what you want to put on her team in Great Rift and you see Agathe, put Agathe in. She'll keep you alive, and if you have her awakened, she will heal your team when she dies, and she's just amazing. I love her design and her function, and she is super useful, and her utility is you know, on another level really, and she's probably the best meat shield type of hero. Now there are gonna be other tanks, but if we're talking about pure meat shield, like health, you know, damage reduction, she's gonna be the one. And now she is a hero lock character now, so they've been slowly adding more hero lock status slash backup status to a lot of these heroes, and now she is a hero lock character, so that is another factor to consider, and it's great. And now the next hero that's gonna be in B tier is another new hero lock character that they introduced to kind of recently, is Isaac. They introduced the backup tag to Isaac. She is a hero lock character now. Now her damage is actually no joke. She links people, transfer stuns and damage, and don't sleep on Isaac. Her ability and like her links and her utility that she brings is quite strong, and you mainly see her in arena. Okay, you don't really, she's not going to be your farming hero. You're either using her as hero lock arena, or you're doing like shenanigans with hero boss you know, raid mode, if it works, right? So that is Isaac, but her like chain ability, don't sleep on it. She's very solid, B tier. Next one is going to be Baldir. Now Baldir is she's in an interesting spot in my opinion. So he's the guy who he's the first hero in the game that they introduced where you place him on the field, it will depend on his form, and he's like a druid essentially, right? So if you place him in the front 2 rows, then he will turn into his bear form. If you put him in the back 2 rows, then he'll turn into his deer form, which is like his DPS form, right? And his go-to mode that you're going to be using Baldir in is his damage mode, is going to be his deer form, and he does lasers like a boomkin in World of Warcraft or something, and his awakenings are pretty good as well, and provides him some survivability. And they recently buffed his like health for his tank form, and they're trying to get his tank form to be a little bit more viable, but yeah, people, I don't think is good enough to be honest. I think his skill for his bear form needs to be completely changed, but what he does, he farms pretty well as well, and he is very good. What can I say, man? His ability is really good, and he's super solid. Do I see him being S tier? No, not really. I think he'll always, in my opinion, I think he'll always hover this like B plus kind of tier. Now there's always a possibility he could be S rank tank mode, okay, but in the future. But I think because of his kit and balancing between his deer and bear form, I think he'll always kind of be in that middle row. He is super solid, and he can farm pretty well as well. So yeah, B tier. Next one's gonna be Behemoths. I love me Behemoths. Behemoths gang, you know, if you don't know what Behemoths gang is, you get 5 Behemoths, you run rapid relic, and you do like spear mask or something, and you go into arena, and then you just go to freaking town, right? And perma stun all day. He is super fun. They recently, I believe they buffed him, like a slight buff in my opinion. He feels a little more consistent, and he has always been strong. The Behemoth comp has always been, ever since it was started playing it, is a comp that you need to know, right? Okay, so it's permastun Behemoths, and he's played in, the people do it in Strat Battlefield. It is not that effective in Strat Battlefield in my opinion, but he's mainly arena, okay? I mean, and he can be a 1-slot hero that you can put in Great Rift as well, that he'll help, and you can do invasion if you want to. He's not gonna be like your best one, but he's very, very effective, let's just say. But nowadays, even since he's like mainly kind of arena focused, there is a lot of utility that he brings, but even when the arena is favor him in the grand arena, he kind of still lacks. Like the Behemoth comps kind of lack. So because of that, he is kind of solid B. Like there's so much other crap in this game that is super strong, man, and you have to compare to what is super strong, and he's just B tier. You know, he was S tier for freaking sure before some of the stuff that is in the current game right now, but he is solid B, and he has put, like, you know, in given the right you know, state of the game and things like that, he could very well be freaking like A+ S tier, man. But right now he is solid B, man. Next one, another hero that received a buff. It was a health buff, Kayn. Now Kayn is all about getting that awakening 1 and generating items. You usually don't ever see Kayn being used as a single carry. Yeah, you can do it. They've been making some buffs to him to try to make him a carry. So for example, he got buffed with his damage, his potential ability even got adjusted. They even gave him more health. My main issue with him has always been that his invulnerability frames do not start when he leaps into the air and then when he falls back down. So you can die in the air by like a Mercil tick or something. You guys know, the Kayn players, you guys know what I'm talking about. You're just flipping in the air and you die by tick damage from a freaking like a Mercil grass tick or something, and it's very frustrating. So but his effect is very unique to him, and only he can do it. He can generate items for you when he does ability with his Awakening 1, and this is used to to get those items that you want in raid mode, in invasion dummies if you want to, and things like that. He's a very good hero because of that effect, in just because he can generate items and how effective that is and how staple he is for generating items. He is B tier. If it wasn't for that fact, he's like C tier in my opinion. But and a lot of people would say, oh, Kayn is S tier, man, and they're like really, you know, really into raid right now, and they're like, he's S tier, dude. And raid tier is not indicative of the state of the game. Unfortunate. A lot of people, there's like a life cycle in King God Castle where you're like, you kind of build your berries, you get 10, 15, you start doing great raid a little bit, and then you can join a raid guild, and then you start going raid for a very long time, and you think raid is like the end all be all for the state of it. It's not the end all be all the state of the game, guys. Raid mode is just raid mode, just like any other mode, and you have to consider all of them. Anyway, I'm gonna go on a range tangent, man. You guys are gonna get me on a raid tangent, but Kayn B tier because of item generation. Now next one is going to be Kathy, the current, as of the recording of this video, the current battle pass skin she has. I love her battle pass skin. Could it be improved a little bit? I think so, but Kathy has been a main staple. She was like S tier when she was released. She got toned down, and then she is pretty solid, and solid is B tier. I think she's still solid, and she is very fun to play, and I think her ability and the satisfaction of using her abilities and just like wiping the floor and stuff, it is very fun. And she's like a gunslinger, very cool archetype and very good design. But is she like her S tier self from the past? No, she gets really popped, and she's very stationary and things like that, and things are very durable now in the state of King God Castle. They're durable, and they do a lot of freaking damage. So yeah, and range carries are very you know, it's a very hard life for range carriers right now. Unfortunately, there's a lot of going to backline and kill you, right? And unfortunately, Kathy is a range carry, and there's got to be balance in that, right? So yeah, you know, it's just how it is. And Kathy is B tier. She's like B plus, B tier. It depends, right? I mean, yeah, you get execute on her, it's unstoppable, right? But you know, you can say that about everything. As I mentioned. All right, another one similar to Hanzi. There's gonna be another fan favorite. A lot of new players kind of gravitate towards this hero as well, and it's going to be Chang'e. Now Chang'e, like, to be honest, Chang'e was super OP in the beginning stages of King God Castle. She eventually started falling off with when they introduced Awakening, right? And her Awakenings aren't that great. They buffed her, and then just over time, I don't know what happened, but she started to feel a lot better and better and better, and that is B rank. She actually feels pretty good right now. Is she A? No, I don't think she's A. Now she is a very man, like she could be B plus maybe. Like she is continually feeling better and better, and if they keep on buffing her, she has potential to be like A. In my opinion, there is some applications in Strive Battlefield right now, but I think it's a little more on the toss. But she has use, like, you know, you get Arena, like there's some shades of possibility there, and she is on the uptrend. But right now she is super solid B. And that is where I will place her. You can do invasion farming with her as well. A lot of people love doing, you know, the chapter 8 farming with her. And then do insignia mask and things like that, and farming super quick. She is a fan favorite design, and she's fun, man. She's fun to play as well. I can't say that a lot about these other heroes. Some heroes, they just don't feel fun to me, and she's, for some reason, she just feels really fun. She has 15 mana. She does her skill a lot. You put attack speed on her and she's just smacking stuff, man. And it is very satisfying. So she is on the uptrend, B tier for now. Next hero is going to be a hero that I want to put in B+, man. At this time, I want to put like freaking a new ranking right here, B+. But Estia is B+, if possible for me. Her utility, now, you know, single carry, she is amazing as well. And she's kind of like the jack of all trades kind of thing. Like, she's kind of like a support hero, but she really excels in damage as well. It's super weird. And like, you can slaughter. I love slaughtering her in my Great Rift comps, and because she can give your teammates knockback, and it's crazy. And she heals. She does damage. And yeah, it's just crazy, right? And you can do some arena stuff too, like rapid Estia, and she does a lot of freaking damage too, and is kind of freaking insane. So like, Estia, don't sleep on her. Her utility is like almost S tier in my opinion, but overall I have to put her in B. You know, because I'm not just grading on like the power of the utility itself, but like B, man. Like, she's like hella super B+ status, and she's great. She is great. Next one's gonna be my boy Gidnil. Where is Gidnil? So Gidnil, he is an interesting one. He is Spell Shield man. You don't use him for anything else. And guess what? In order to use Spell Shield, you need to awaken him. And without his awakening and sharing his Spell Shield, he is absolutely garbage. He is down here. If you don't have him awaken, just don't play this guy, dude. Do not play this guy. The only reason you play him is when you have awaken and you use the awakening ability that shares his spell shield. No one ever uses the other one. Okay, there are some neat strategies you can do with the other awakening ability, but the widely used one is the one that you share your spell shield, and you share your spell shield with your carry, and it blocks, like, you know, CC effects and things like that. I'm not gonna get into it too much, but his ability to share his spell shield is amazing. Now, when he was released, the effect was super good, like really good, to where it was like up here. Now, because of Mighty Blocks and how they changed it and how it is now, he's here. His value of spell shield is very up. Now, don't get me wrong, Tower Trials, you know, Gidnil, like if you want to do some niche strats and stuff like that, yeah, Gidnil is like very staple in Tower Trials, yes, but just in terms of the power of spell shield in general and things like that, and because he's staple in comps for competitive reasons, he's like, you know, he's used for Gidnil to negate the silence from Mage Boss, from Raid and things like that. And you can put him in arena comps to, like, you know, dodge like a freaking spell or something, right? And because of that, he is B tier. Now, if he didn't have any of that, he is down freaking D tier, man. He is down D tier. But because of that, I cannot put him in A. Like, it just feels bad. If the value of spell shield was much higher than Mighty Block, and Mighty Block was a bit weaker, then yeah, I would consider him putting him A because of how insanely strong spell shield is, but it is just not as valuable as much as Mighty Blocks overall. So because of that, B, like maybe like B a little higher, maybe I would value, but his effect is so unique, right? And you know, B tier, man, B tier. All right, another hero that just got buffed, actually, Hela, another fan favorite. She has a unique mechanic of a concentration kind of like cast bar. She doesn't run on mana or things like that. She has like a casting time scaled by attack speed with her level 8 potential. By the way, a lot of new players are like, oh, I thought she's skilled with attack speed, why can't I do it? It's her level 8 potential ability. Okay, guys, you need to level her up to level 8, and then you unlock that ability to scale your casting speed. But they increased her spell power damage, which was, it's insane. Actually, I actually played around with her, and she does like a lot more damage than she did before, and it feels actually pretty freaking good. Actually pretty good. And would that change immediately put her in A? I don't think so. She's still stationary. She still get popped. And there are the damage, and she's a damage dealer, right? And when she's a damage dealer, you have to compare her to the other damage dealers in the game. And right now, if you are a range, like any range caster, like damage dealer, you're a little bit on the weaker side, because there are options that are way above the rest, right? And there are reasons for that. So she is still B, but she feels way more solid now, way more. She does so much damage now, way more than she did. She can farm chapter 10 pretty well, in my opinion now, like even better. And the more changes, the better she is, right? And she just feels even more solid now. But is that gonna push her to S rank? No, I don't think so. So B rank hella. Next one is the hero that you get from the journey, like free new beginner quest, is Joel. Now Joel is an interesting one. He's like, in my opinion, he is, I always make fun of this, he's budget Cure-Dad. Budget Cure-Dad. Now he's cool. He's elf man. He when you get him to tier 7, you put a staff and 2 bows on him or something, and he like smacks people and just deletes the screen, right? And you largely see him in arena. And it's arena, or some people do in the beginning stages of beta season, you saw him in Strive Battlefield. He is definitely not in Strive Battlefield anymore, but you can do Strive Battlefield with Joel if you want to. There are some strategies you can do in perhaps Tower of Trials or something like that, but he is another hero that got a lot of buffs over time, and he was pretty good, like really good at the beginning of King God Castle, and then he just got worse and worse. He was like D tier, and then he just kind of got better and better, bust, similar to the Chang'e story, in my opinion. So he's kind of solid. He's solid, man. He feels pretty good. If you want, the trick to him is that you want at least 2 points in Mage Altar, because that will allow Joel to insta-cast at the beginning of round. So if you're a Joel player and you haven't been putting at least 2 points in Altar of Mage, do that, and he will instantly cast his ability at the beginning of round, and he'll be completely invulnerable, and he can start smacking things in AoE. So that is a nice tip for new players out there. But yeah, Joel is B. He feels pretty fun on the uptrend, super solid. Next one is a staple arena pick of old, and it's going to be Mercil. Now she is more largely used for her damage buffing capabilities now. She provides that 15% damage increase when she it's one of her potential abilities, and you usually see Mercil nowadays as a slot unit in raid mode to increase the damage. And a lot of people right now are using her other awakening ability to remove CC on Strive Battlefield teams. You guys can do that if you want. Honestly, I don't know how that got started. I think somebody used it in like top 10 King God or something, and then in King God Castle, you copy other people's teams. Okay, that's just the nature of it. All right, whether you are a person who likes to theory craft or go against the tide, or just copy someone else's team, I think it just I don't know. It caught on. So a lot of people are using Mercil on their teams for some reason. She's not necessary, to be honest with you, but you guys can do what you want. But you see her in Strive Battlefield for some reason. I don't think it's necessary. But she used to be God S tier arena. Okay, and because of the arena buff and like the other heroes on the list, she definitely is like B tier. Not as great, but she provides crazy AoE healing, and she's just really good. But the difference between Mercil healing and Alberon healing, Alberon overheals you to shield. And Mercil is like a DOT tick based healing, like a druid, like from World of Warcraft, and it only goes up to the maximum health. She does not overheal, so that is the main difference. And she's super solid, man. I love Mercil, and I kind of miss the days when she was like super OP, to be honest. But I mean, I kind of miss it, but I kind of don't. But yeah, she is super solid still. Don't sleep on her. Mainly used for her damage boosting capabilities as like a one slaughter on your team right now. Next one in B tier is gonna be my boy Rahawk. Now Rahawk is he is kind of an interesting one. He's kind of utility, but he's damage too, and he does this fine line really well. Now in King God Castle, usually when you're a hero, you usually either like damage or your utility. Rarely you get like these heroes that are kind of in the middle, and he's in the middle, and he actually does both of them really good. So similar to Merzel, Rahawk provides a damage booster, and with his awakening ability, he can apply that damage boost buff thing to 2 targets because he throws 2 birds out, right? And on top of that, if you want to do like an arena comp, or you want to like farm a chapter or something, if you want to make this guy your carry, he does freaking damage, dude. Don't sleep on him. Now in arena, there was like the past comps where it's like giant comps, right? You put like Kathy and Rahawk would be the other one. He does damage, dude. Do not sleep on Rahawk damage. A lot of people, like, you know, there was a universe in the past where Rahawk was like Canuck memeable, you know, there was a time, okay, but nowadays he's actually pretty freaking solid. But overall, you mainly using him to apply 2 buffing statuses to 2 targets because of his awakening of he throws 2 birds essentially and applies the damage buff, right? And that is mainly the draw for that character specifically. But don't sleep on his damage carry potentials if you want to do like a, you know, like a troll arena build, or you just want to farm it. You can farm a chapter with a bit, okay? Is he gonna be the best? No, but he has damage, okay? His damage is really good, so don't sleep on that. Next one on the list is going to be Rosette. Now Rosette is an interesting history as well. She is another hero in the past where she was absolutely garbage, D tier, and then they kept on buffing her, and then Awakenings got released, and then they kept on buffing her, and now she scales off attack speed. She does, you know, she has a sick battle pass skin now, and she is also another damage buffer, one of the higher percentages ones, and you mainly see her as a damage buffer and a meat shield because she is ultimately a tank, and she has a high health pool. So you're using her as like a tank meat shield that is very tanky. And she's very good in 1v1s as well because of how her kit works, and her awakening applies that exposed weakness of I believe it's 15% on bosses, right? And it's just great, man. It is freaking great. She has a sick battle pass skin, and she's a super solid meat shield that adds a damage buffing effect. You usually see her in raid mode, and then of course you see her in Tower of Trials as well. And if you want to make her into like a dunk carry one shot, like put stats on her and stuff like that, you can do that too, and it's super fun. One shot the dog in Tower of Trials, you can do it. It's very fun, very satisfying, but overall she is solid B tier. Next one on the list is going to be Tay-Bek. Now Tay-Bek is interesting, man. So he is not a carry, okay? If you're using Tay-Bek for damage, you're doing it wrong. You're probably gonna think he's like Canuck tier, okay? But the reason why you use Tay-Bek is because of his awakening ability. I believe it's his awakening 2, okay? That it's the one when he does his ability, he is invulnerable. He cannot die. Undying unless he's like, you know, interrupted by CC, but he is invincible when he's casting, and he's a taunter. So what happens is that you can do some interesting things if you can get him to activate really early in the round or instantly in the round. Like say you put him in the back corner, he does his ability at the start of round and taunts people, and guess what? Pathing, right? So the opponent has to walk all the way to the back to go to Tay-Bek while your team is killing them, right? And that is the power of Tay-Bek, and his effect is so unique and so powerful. They did nerf him, but even then his usage it's unique and is super incredibly powerful, man. And because of that effect, people would put him in like A tier or even S. He's not S, but he's like B plus because of the power of that effect alone and how effective that is. It's super strong, and because of that, he's B tier. I can't put him any higher because he literally has no other contributions, right? And I can't put him up. He has a very specific like conditions, like he has to have enough mana, and like you maybe you have to use mage relic, or you have to do mage altar, pair him with bardry. There's a lot of conditions involved, and it's a little harder now to pull that off, but you can do it, and it is super strong still. So solid B tier overall in my opinion. But don't sleep on the effect. The effect is one of the staple effects and usages in the game King God Castle that you should be utilizing to your strategies. And yeah, I can't stress it enough. Don't sleep on it. And there's a reason why people think Tayback is strong. So yeah, I encourage you guys to try it out, and you won't regret it if you awaken him and you want to do anything like arena base, right? So definitely check him out. Next one is going to be Yan. Now Yan is another here. There's like a trend over here where Yan is one of the beginner kind of heroes, and she was pretty solid, and then she kept on getting power crept, and then she wasn't used that much anymore, and then she got buffed, and then things like that, and then now she's used now, man, and she has like really good skins, fan favorite, and it's just she does a lot of damage and a lot of heals and a lot of bursts. So the Yan Tayback comp, if you guys know, that is also popular, and she is hella solid. You can do chapter 10 with her, no problem. You can do arena. I played around with Strat Battlefield. I don't recommend Strat Battlefield Yan, but Strat Battlefield Yan is pretty funny, and it is doable. She does a lot of freaking damage. Don't sleep on it, man. She does a lot of damage, but overall, considering like the meta and things like that, she is super solid B, but her damage is very good, like very good. Don't sleep on it. She will burst you for sure. Second Awakening, the right one, and yeah, B tier. Next one on the list is going to be another favorite, Jupiter. Now Jupiter fans, she is power crept, man. So that's to say that she used to be S tier arena, man. She used to be S tier arena. I can't deny. I lived in that era. Used to be S tier arena, and then Grand Arena buff came out, and then S tier heroes came out, and she just got power crept and stuff. So she is squishy, and she does a lot of damage when you put 80%. It's kind of like the Hanzi kind of idea where you put triple items on her and she has like 60 execute, like whatever, right? 100% execute, you kill everything, right? Of course, right? But she does a lot of damage, don't get me wrong, but she will get popped before all these other guys that will jump into the back line and kill you, right? And in the past, I always have to explain this as well. If those of you who've been following me for a while, you guys know the story. But the new guys, in the past, it was so hard to actually jump into the back line and reach the backline units. You guys know what I'm talking about. You guys been playing. Those of you who've been playing for a while, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. In this day and age, in the current state of King God Castle, you can go to the backline for free. You don't need to do anything, man. And in the past, you would have to like give up a relic, and there was only 2 relics in the past, by the way. You would need to give up 1 relic to use TP scroll, man. You need to use TP scroll to go to the back line. It was so much harder to get to the back line, so Jupiter had free range to just auto attack and kill everything, right? But in this day and age, there's so much survivability, shields, CC, knockback. I want to jump in the back line no matter what for free without having to use TP scroll and kill you. And that is the state of Jupiter right now. And because of that, she's B. She's solid, but not as great as some of the other ones. And the next one is going to be another staple, and he is the other character you start off with at the beginning of the game is Armis. Armis, I love Aura Gang, man. So I started with season 1 New to Pro series with Armis and Armis Gang. It is a comp that you should know. Back then it was OP. And over time, Like I said, if you're a range carry, it is sad times right now. There are much better things in the game, and Power Crept is all I gotta say. And he's a solid choice. Very fun, a lot of burst damage. You know, nowadays it's like Void, and we put Mars in the front, and you know, freaking Lunaire in front of the Armis and protect him, and maybe you can burst him down. But he's still solid, and he does a lot of freaking damage. Don't get me wrong, but overall he's super solid, and super solid means B, and B tier he is. Next hero is another hero that you start off with, is going to be Shilda. Now, the hero that you start off with, out of the heroes that you start off with that are tanks, Shilda is the one that you would want to invest in, because in the long term she is a great tank. And she is a meta tank because of mighty blocks, and she will be relevant for sure. So if you wanted a tank in the beginning when you're starting out, don't put it all on Leo and stuff. That was in the past, but Shilda is very, very good and very, very relevant. And she produces her own, if you awaken her, she produces her own mighty blocks when she does her ability, and is very strong because mighty blocks right now in the current meta are super valuable and incredibly strong. So she is super solid tank, crazy good skins, fan favorite, solid B tier. Next one is probably my favorite hero in the game, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to put him in B tier. Zhao Yun, Spearman, Dynasty Warrior. You know, put a lot of spell power on him and watch him like crazy attack speed, kills something right. Unfortunately, because of the state of the game and how it's changed over time with FPS cap and things like that, his performance is based on FPS. But the thing is, they adjusted the game to where it is locked at 60. So in the past, it wasn't locked at 60. So you can get some crazy performance out of him in raid mode for sure. This is way back in the past, by the way. And he's actually my first hero that I unlocked when I first played the freaking game. And I thought he was so OP because he attacked so fast. He had like innate lifesteal and things like that. And I have like a certain bias to him, but I believe I ranked him higher as well in the past. He is raid staple. He was OG raid staple for a very long time, and he kind of got he's still used in raid mode, kind of overshadowed by some of the other picks you can do in raid mode now, but he is still staple in raid mode, like blood bots and things like that, but not that used overall. He used to be really, and you know, in my opinion, I played him in arena as well in the past. Nowadays, you can't really do Zhao Yun arena. I don't recommend it. It is pretty rough. So you can do some, like, because of his range, DPS, kind of this mid-range thing, you can do a lot of like Tower of Trials challenges, unique strategies with that. Not great farmer. You can do it. Kind of the same feeling of if you want to farm with Mel. Kind of along the lines of that. Mel is a great hero, but not exactly your farmer, right? So Zhao Yun kind of falls in that boat, and just overall, he is really strong. But is he like crazy good right now? Like crazy good? No, unfortunately I'm gonna place him in B tier, solid B. All right, next hero is going to be one of the newer heroes, Elizabeth. Now, I want to put Elizabeth in B+, and the reason why is because how viable she is as a void fodder. She is, when void fodder, if you don't know what void fodder is, it is basically there's a relic in the game called perpetual void, and pretty much when your units die, the rest of your team gets buffed, right? So as you would imagine, any heroes that kind of spawn additional units or like summoner type units are void fodders, right? So your actual heroes can't die, and you can stack it up pretty fast. Now, Elizabeth is one of those heroes. She like spawns these little mini golems, and the golems can like die, and then you get the stacks and things like that. And I've been playing around with her a lot. She just got her new awakening, and she has like this innate taunt effect as well, and built into her kit. And the only bad thing is that she doesn't she's not a 100% mana start at round. She starts with 50% mana, but to really utilize her, you need a 10 altar of mage to really use her effectively. And because of that caveat, she is B tier. In my opinion, but if you can get her going and like get that 10 mana at least for her to do ability at the start of round, I do think her second awakening, her newest one, is insanely good as well. I think she might be like A tier B plus in my opinion because of that utility. Now she is like a tank utility type. She does a lot of damage as well actually, so I wouldn't use her as a main damage, to be honest with you. Mainly void fodder, tanky kind of approach, and she is super solid. In like maybe B plus in the future if they buff her a little bit, maybe 100% mana, I can see her going to like A tier. But Elizabeth right now, I think she's like B plus, so around B tier. Now the last one on B tier is going to be someone who I've personally, like a personal level, have ranked very highly, but I think it's I don't remember where I placed him before, but it is going to be Bommy. Now Bommy is a crazy good range carry. Now if like out of all the range carries that are not an S&A, okay, I would pick Bommy. And it is because if you do 10 mage altar with him, he casts instantly at the beginning of the round. You put him in like bottom left, bottom right corner, or use mask with him, right? And if you have the correct items, you don't even need the items, to be honest with you, and he just goes to town, throw the bombs, and AoE kill everything. You put a log and everything else. But with the downside of range carries, you know what I'm about to say. There are so many heroes right now and there's so much CC. Bommy just dies. Now there is they did buff him to be like scaled off of spell power, but that didn't really do too much for him. It did give him like a bit more damage. There's like a bit of an RNG where you can probably delete the enemy before they reach you. There is a chance, okay? There is a chance. He does a lot of freaking bursts, and he can farm very well. But I think it feels better overall to put him in like B plus. It's sad to me say because I love Bommy so much and he's super stable. Like anything with PvE, Bommy is really stable. You can even do Blacksmith Great Rift with him as well. Super solid B tier, I think, for now. You know, we can always adjust this. There's a reason why we can we always revisit these tier lists monthly and adjust our rankings. But B tier for now. I think overall in the scope of things, it feels pretty good and feels right. Now that is it for B tier, man. That's a lot of freaking heroes, man. Now we're gonna be jumping into A and S. So A tier, boys. The first one's going to be A tier, is going to be Neria. Neria had a rough start as well. She wasn't that great when she got first released. She had problems. She got changed, buffed, and things like that. She even has a battle pass skin, which I think is pretty good. And not the greatest, but I do like the Bloodborne look. You know, I'm a sucker for that. But her design is really sick, and she does a lot of freaking damage. And if you're running a Behemoth gang comp, you're putting in an area in the back, and that is usually how it goes. And she does a lot of damage now, man. She don't sleep on her damage. You can even do like Blacksmith Great Rift with her, and because of her awakening she can turn invisible, and she can affect the units on the board, their pathing. So usually whenever you have an ability that affects pathing and things like that, it's a very unique effect and very strong. So she has that in her awakening ability where she can go invisible and then deals out her damage when she pops out and things like that. And very strong effect, very good damage. And funny enough, she is a ranged unit, so she is one of the better ranged units to play in the game for sure. And she is in a very good spot. She received a lot of changes and buffs over the time, and I think she's slowly climbed up, and she is in a really good spot right now, and I think she feels super solid. So A tier, Neria. Next one on the list is going to be one of my favorites. You see him everywhere, nearly everywhere. Is going to be Tayson, Tapex brother, man. So he is used so often, definitely in this meta, and the reason why is that his ability goes across the entire screen, and it's CC and it pulls it towards him, and you pair him with Bardry, especially if you have a Mage Altar. you can get this chain effect going where he continually does his ability and it is perma stun and he builds shield while you're doing it. And guess what? His damage is based on shield. So if you guys know about the holy combo by any chance, you get like Alberon with a Barju with Tayson, and then you get Alberon to heal Tayson, and then Tayson builds up a bunch of shield, and then he does a lot of damage because his damage scales off of his shield protection. And you guys have seen like the shield builds, solo Tayson on Great Rift and things like that. It can get your phase zeros done and things like that, but you're definitely not going to be doing phase 15 with that build. But you can do fun stuff with that, and he is extremely staple right now in Stripe Battlefield as the recording of this video, and he's staple in Arena as well. Maybe not much as so in this day and age, but his effect of 10 Mage Altar at the start of round, he does skill to pull back for some CC, is staple ever since like pretty much when he was released, and it is just so powerful. And because of that, he's actually like a tank. He's kind of like a tank damage. He's like in the middle, and he does both really well. So man, he is so good. He is so freaking good, man. And I would recommend check him out. You're definitely, I mean, you can do chapter 10 phase 15 with him. Actually you can do it. And just don't sleep on Tayson. Tayson is one of kind of a unique kind of hero, and he's been a staple for quite a while. And yeah, check him out, man. He is definitely up there. One on the list is going to be definitely a fan favorite, is going to be Zhao Bai, Zhao Yun's older brother. Now it is mainly because he was very popular in the past, and then he got his Lightning God skin, and it is probably one of the in my opinion, probably the best skin of the game, if I'm speaking honestly. And he is swordsman guy, judgment Virgil guy, a big sword guy, jumps around, teleports everywhere, kills everything in one hit. And he is very satisfying to use. I cannot deny he is very strong. And they buffed him. Well, he was super S tier when he was released, and then they nerfed him, and then he kind of fell off a little bit over time, and then they kind of changed him and buffed him again, and he returned I wouldn't say definitely not his status of what he once was, but it is a shade of that, and he's very satisfying to use, very fun, and that is like he's just super fun to use, and he's very strong, a lot of damage. Can't go wrong with Zhao Bai. Very good hero as well, and the sickest skin in the game. A tier. The next one on the list is going to be a hero I did move down in the past, and it is going to be Heidong. Heidong is, man, I love Heidong, man. He is CC man galore, AoE, like that is what he brings. He does don't get me wrong, if you put like staffs on him and things like that, he actually can do a decent amount of damage. You're definitely not going to be killing bosses with this guy for sure. You are using this guy paired with Bardry and giving him mana and doing ultimate stun lock. If you are playing Arena and you put Bardry plus Heidong in there, especially if you have him awakened, he's gonna go to town and perma stun the opponent for sure. So very strong in PvE for perma stun. Pair him with Bardry, as I mentioned, and he goes to town. CC, man, you can't. When I think of CC in this game, I think of Heidong first and foremost. So Heidong very strong. In the past, I would put him in S, but his CC is so strong, that's why I put him in S. But it felt better to put him in A, because that's all he really brings is CC. You can he's a raid staple as well for Greed Boss, because his ability can remove the stun stacks or whatever from Greed Boss, so he is used for meta comps like that as well. But other than that, he's very prevalent, man, as a utility hero. His utility is absolutely insane, and I am surprised they never really nerfed him, to be honest with you. And he's just super good. CC, man, A tier. The next one is going to be a starter hero that you start with, and it is a fan favorite farming hero, and has been a fan favorite for a long time, and is going to be Evan. Now Evan, man, it depends on who you ask. There's like a lot of generation of kinggodcastle players, right? You have like the old guys like me, and then you have the guys who kind of played after me, and then now they're kind of like the quote unquote old, you know, not quite as old as me, but quote unquote old. And then you have the current generation of players who are kind of playing when there are things like Kierdan and Victoria and Ian in the mix, right? And it's very interesting to see the differences in the perspectives amongst the players. It's very fun too. So in the past, Evan was actually garbage. Yeah, believe it or not, he was D tier, and then he was buffed. And then Awakenings came out, and then he kind of got explored a bit more. Chapter 10 got released and things like that, and more changes came, and he became the go-to farmer for Chapter 10. Now, fast forward, you know, when other things kind of got introduced, he is no longer the quote-unquote go-to for Chapter 10 because other heroes can do it better with less requirements. So with Evan, you always hear about, oh, you need a Lunaire Awaken, you need an actual like minimum relic stat, so you actually needed to, like, you know, do relic rolling and things like that. There are other heroes that you don't need to focus on any of that stuff, and it's much easier. But a lot of people, you know, there is a satisfaction in using Evan. He does one huge slash, you get tier 7 Evan, does one full slash across the screen, flies across the screen, and then everything dies, right? And it is very satisfying to see that. So he's still a good farmer, don't get me wrong, but other than farming, you don't really see him anywhere else, dude. I mean, you can get Evan and like clear Tower Trials floor. You're not going to do competitive, okay? But you can clear Tower Trials floor for Team 1, for example, but that's not going to really weight too much in this tier list. But I do think he is a very solid farmer still. Definitely not the best go-to, but there are Evan fans, you know, let's be honest, guys. You have Evan fans, you have your Ren fans, you have your Rai fans, you have your Victoria fans, you have your Ian fans, and then you got your Kierdan fans, you know, like, you know, there are fans, all right? But in my opinion, he is A tier at best currently, and you will see Evan some people's tier list to be an S. I don't think he's an S. He has way too many requirements. Like, yeah, if you have max spell power relic, he is S tier. You know, like, you can say that about anybody, to be honest with you. Same thing with the item situation. So Evan, A tier. He is the character who, if you're starting out, and usually when you start out, you have to invest in a carry, right? And is usually either Artemis. In the current state of the game, it's either Artemis or Evan. I recommend, in the current state of the game, Evan. Evan is stronger 100,000%. You will not go wrong with Evan. And I did do that in my current Season 2 New to Pro series, and then I converted to something else. But Evan is a really good investment as well if you are not finding the other heroes to replace him with. But he is super solid, mainly invasion farming currently. All right, next one on the list is going to be, I believe, the last tank type hero in the game, and is going to be Lily, everyone's favorite Lily. Now, Lily, don't sleep on Lily, man. With her awaken ability, with the charge stun in front of her is very strong. If you are wanting a tank for Chapter 10, Lily is the one to go. There are many reasons why. Since she has a really low health before jumping into the column, the guy that leaps to you on Chapter 10, it will target Lily instead. And then on top of that, the laser guys. So the laser guys, when they tether Lily, when her golem state dies, it will continue to tether her, so your carries can kill the laser guys, for example, and it can delay that. And see, she is staple tank for Chapter 10. And you can pretty much make any comp work in Chapter 10 if you have a Lily frontline, in my opinion. And that is, she is very strong. Super solid tank, man. Super solid tank. What can I say? And she is like pretty much the better version of Daniel. And she is a hero lock character, so it is kind of freaking insane. She is very good. She is very good tank option. Can't go wrong. Of course, she doesn't have like mighty blocks with like Shilda, but with her awakening, it is very good. And she has like this unique mounting effect type thing going on, and you can't go wrong. And also hero lock is the plus. So I believe A rank, in my opinion. Next one is going to be it's going to be debatable, because I put this hero on an S tier before, and I moved her down, I believe, and she is so relevant in the meta, and has been in the meta and relevant for a very long time. And with the introduction of Perpetual Void, she's just a staple, right? And it's going to be Mara. Now, man, it's just when I compare Mara, when I put Mara in S tier and I compare, like, I just look at the rest of the people that I put in S tier, it just does not feel right for me to put Mara in S tier. But do not get me wrong. Don't let this fool you. Mara is a staple in a lot of freaking comps, especially when you have if you're using Void. Mara is the clone illusion awakening ability, and she even has exposed weakness in her kit, and she can affect pathing. She generates a mighty block. Mighty blocks are really strong right now. She even stuns the target. It is kind of insane. Like, the things that she has in her kit is crazy good, and she is a crazy good round 1 hero as well in arena. So it's just, she's such a staple. That's why I put her in S in the previous list, but it just didn't feel right to put her in S. She's very relevant, and I will put her in A, man. I gotta put her in A. She's like A+, very staple. You see her literally almost everywhere, especially if you're using Void. So A rank Mara. So next hero is going to be a range hero, and the reason why I put Tia A is that she has crazy good bursts, pretty good damage, and she has a unique effect where she is a range carry, but in her kit she actually can maneuver and take a back step and move around and like coordinate and move along the field. So when an enemy approaches her, she leaps back and then, you know, continues to do that. And like these other range carries, they're stationary. They just sit there. They don't move, right? Tia moves, and that is why she's A. And also, she is 100% staple for one of the most iconic, most effective, and in my opinion, probably the best Great Rift Blacksmith build. Like, you can clear phase 15 so easy with her and get to phase 15 super fast. Blacksmith, 1 living sword, 2 bombardment. If you haven't been doing it, check out my video. You just need bombardment, you need 1 living sword, you just need Tia, really, and you put 3 bows on her, get some split on that, and then you're killing everything, dude. Killing absolutely everything. And she's really good in arena too, in my opinion, if it kind of favors her a bit. And she is a pain to deal with because she also has long range, and it's kind of hard to counter that, right? And she does a lot of freaking damage, man. I had to give credit where it's due. I wasn't a Tia fan in the past, but I do see the value of her, and she's so iconic that I had to put her in A, man. I have to put her in A. So Tia in A. All right, the last hero I'm going to be putting in A tier is going to be the newest hero, Seirang. Yes, so I did do a poll to kind of gauge you guys' feelings on Seirang and where she would be placed, and she is a link hero, a hero lock character. And so when link hero, meaning that you can only have 1 link hero on a team, so you're choosing between Seirang, Mono, and Lunaire. As of the current patch, there's only 3 link type heroes right now, and Seirang is the newest one. So because you have to choose between the 3, what she brings is kind of insane. But as of her release in the current state of things, it's not 100% kind of, she doesn't feel like she enables anything meta breaking so far. Now that is so far. Okay, in the future it might change, but there's not too many reasons to use Seirang over Lunaire or Mono. Mono and Lunaire still dominate the scene. There are reasons why it dominates the scene, but Seirang is really strong as well. But there's less of a reason to use Seirang, in my opinion, but she does enable a lot of unique comps and strategies, and those comps and strategies have yet to really been, grown to be something meta breaking. And once that happens, Seirang will be S tier. But right now, since it's early, and we'll always revisit this list, she has potential to move to S, but right now it feels better to put her in A for sure. So that is my ranking for Seidong, the newest hero, A tier. All right, that is it for A tier. We're gonna be going into S tier now. You can see the top of their heads down here. Who's gonna be in S tier? But let's just go through it. The first one is always gonna be Bargy. She is now not the only battery unit in the game. You have Seidong, who is another like battery unit, but she is team wide and she is not a link hero. So because of that, she will always be staple battery hero. Seidong kind of like is another option to bypass that for another strat, but Bargy is here to stay. She is S rank, gives your entire team mana, is not a link hero, very staple in literally every single mode, and she's a hero lock, and there's not much else to say, man. You pair her up with literally any other hero and their potential in like effectiveness like tenfolds. Bargy. Next one is going to be Lunaire. Not much needs to be said. She is a staple of the OG link hero. She is hero lock, and she literally buffs the target both spell power and attack, and gives them mighty blocks, and that's kind of in like a shield too, but that's like less so. So like there's this mighty block kind of factor that she gives you, survivability as well to the link target, and she is very strong and very widely used in literally every mode. Raid mode staple, everything, buff the target, do a lot of damage, or if you're playing Strife Battlefield, you give mighty blocks to your main carry, and that is also a thing right now. She is staple, what can I say? And she is S tier. No surprise that she is S tier. And speaking of another link type hero, and let's might as well get it out of the way, Mono, the second link type hero. He is specifically focusing on attack damage buffing. Now I forgot to mention it, Seidong is spell power specific, so Mono gives this unique effect where, you know, he's a link type hero, so you have to choose between these three heroes, Lunaire, Mono, and Seidong. Mono brings an aspect of damage reduction, a lot of damage reduction, and more movement speed when he casts. So that is his kind of draw. And if you have an attack based hero, you kind of want to use Mono. So for example, Victoria, that is about to come up in this list, you want to use Mono to buff her because the synergy, and you know, Mono specifically buffs attack damage. So that is the ideas there. So Mono S tier. So right now in the meta, you're either picking normally Lunaire or Mono, and Seidong is kind of I would say kind of getting figured out is what I'll say, but she has potential to be S in the future. But because you have to choose between the three right now, Lunaire and Mono is definitely the more of the go-to. All right, next one on the list is gonna be everyone's favorite Ian. Super hella broken in the when he was released, and still really good. And yeah, he got a lot of nerfs, but I think he's in a solid spot right now. He's not as annoying as before, but he's still very strong, man. Don't get me wrong, he's still very strong. Raid meta, does a lot of damage, percentage base, and he's one of the top tier DPS. If you want damage, you can't go wrong with Ian. Buff him with freaking Lunaire and go to town, right? And you see him damage scaling, bro. Damage scaling, what can I say? S tier. Now another one, percentage base, you can't go wrong. Like the OG Mel, man, like everyone loves Mel. It does the great sword effect, you know, swinging a big sword, shockwaves, and you got the King God skin and everything like that. She has been raid staple for so long. Her scaling is percentage, so you pair her with a bunch of Lunaires, you stack Lunaires, and then you do Bargy, buff them up, and then boom, you go to town, and damage galore, gets them split, attack plus attack counts. That is the Mel dream, and no wonder she is popular. So she's been a staple for a very long time. S tier. Next one is going to be Kierdan. Now Kierdan is a very good in arena right now, especially in the Grand Arena buff, and his kit is just, I've always said this, his kit is just bonkers, man. He has everything. He has the damage, he scales off of 2 different stats, attack speed or spell power. He's CC immunity when he does his ability, and guess what, he paths to the largest group, so he just shreds everything. And guess what, he is 30 freaking mana, 2 auto attack, CC immunity. You cannot go freaking wrong, dude. Like, he has everything. He's not percentage damage scaling, so you're not going to be seeing him as like a raid meta comp or anything, but he does everything else so well, you know, and he's a super solid very good in arena right now, and he can farm very well. He can even do insignia, horn, and crown, and not many heroes can do that. And he's very strong, man. He's very strong. He can jump in the back line for free. He's one of those heroes, man. He's gonna kill you. He's gonna kill you. He's gonna kill your range carry. You're gonna play Hanzi, he's gonna kill you. You know, and yeah, S tier, dude, S tier. Now he has not. Funny enough, he is one of the S tiers of the newest ones, right? That they haven't gotten touched to be nerfed yet. And he's in this really weird fine line where he's not overly broken. I don't know. He's very fun to play as well. So you don't really see a lot of people complaining about him. But until then, he'll probably get nerfed. But he has yet to get nerfed yet. And I think he's in a super solid spot, to be honest. He's a little broken. To be honest, he's a little broken. I think he should be like 45 mana, to be completely honest. I think he should be 45 mana. But he is very strong right now, and you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. The next one on the list is going to be another fan favorite, Rai. She got, so she is mainly a void fodder unit, like a void stacker. She's a summoner. She summons the dolls. She has a very good battle pass skin as of recent, and they changed her to where her ability scales off of attack speed, which kind of like blew her up essentially, and she does so much damage, and like she's a void stacker, she's damage dealer, and she just shreds everything. She has synergy with grenade and things like that, and like for example, Elizabeth, she is like a tank void stacker, right? And Rai is DPS, void stacker, and so she can stack in herself. Or you can use her as a stacker, like in Raid or something like that. And she is staple literally everywhere. I think she makes Great Rift pretty easy mode, in my opinion. She does so much damage, guys. So much damage. She even got nerfed recently, and I don't think I honestly don't think it really affected her too much. And I think she's still going to be very strong. So Rai S tier for sure. Next one, another favorite is going to be Victoria. Now, okay, granted, I wasn't a Victoria fan, and I do see the appeal and the power and the why people like her. She is very strong. Very strong. Her ability does so much damage, even at lower levels, which is insane, and everyone loves to see things get deleted. And if you want to see things get deleted, Victoria is your person. She did get nerfed, but the nerf actually didn't touch her that bad, and that it kind of shows you how OP she is. And the her main draw is that her damage didn't get touched, right? She does bonkers damage, right? And it just kind of goes to show how broken she was. And she got nerfed, but her damage didn't get touched, so she still feels really good. S tier. I mean, I'm not a Victoria fan, to be honest with you, but she is really good. I have to give credit where credit's due, man. She is S tier. Her damage is indeed bonkers. She is fun. Jumps in the back line, kills those Hanzis, right? So yeah, S tier, Victoria. Next hero on the list is going to be one of my fan favorites, my go-to invasion farmer, the one that I'm doing right now, my New to Pro Season 2 series, if you're following it, and it's going to be Inrath. Inrath is so brain dead bonkers, man. He has a unique set of abilities. He scales off of no items. Yes, you heard it right. The empty item slots, you don't want to equip this guy with items, and he scales off of it. And you just need one with a mask, and then you get to just click go in invasion farming, and click go, and it's super fast, super farming, my go-to. You don't even really need to worry about relic stats at all, and you just need to get him high level, and that's it, man. Base stats, man. And he is also staple right now in arena, and even when the Grand Arena buff doesn't favor him, he is staple as well. Great round 1, round 2 hero, and he is amazing. Even there's some implications of Blacksmith raid boss. He can get into the backline to get extra damage as well. Can burst Blacksmith boss very fast and does a lot of damage. And I love his design, man. I freaking love his design. He's the most brain dead character in King God Castle. You don't have to worry about items, man. If you're a player who's like confused about items, you don't know whether to build attack speed or freaking spell power, or you don't know if what affixes are good, use Inrath, man. You don't need to put items on them. You don't need to worry about them merging items and figuring out the min-max on items. It's just so easy and very effective. Inrath, very good S tier. All right, the last one I'm going to be putting on the list is going to be someone who I moved down from S tier, and I'm going to move her back up to S, and it's going to be Ren. Ren is so good right now in Strife Battlefield. So good. The newest and hottest mode right now in King God Castle, Strife Battlefield. Ren is the meta. Now, Rye was the meta for a while as well. Ren is definitely, in my opinion, better and widely used right now. And if you should be using Ren if you're not using Ren yet in Strife Battlefield. And she generates mighty blocks, does a lot of freaking damage, and with the newest relics that they introduce, she has a lot of synergy with those and the comp surrounding that, and it just makes for a really good recipe for her to be extremely strong. She is a staple in Tower of Trials stuff as well. You can do her in arena, but like, yeah, she's not like your go-to pick in arena. She can farm as well, but not your like go-to farmer, but she can generate her own mighty block, guys, and she does a lot of freaking damage. So because of all of that mighty and how mighty block is valued, I have to put her in S tier right now. Now in the future we can revisit this list and maybe she moves back down for me, but I'm a Ren fan now and she is amazing. One of the best battle pass skins as well, and yeah, like she is great design. She is very fun to play, I can't deny it. They did buff her over time as well. She used to not be like SA, guys. She used to be kind of garbage, and then they buffed her and then like kind of gave her that movement speed after killing something, and then now mighty block, the changes with mighty block, she is very good. Now that is it. I think that is going to be my tier list for February 2024 update. As always, I revisit this list and update it every month, so if you want to keep up with that, be sure to subscribe and like the video, and also check out my Patreon page and consider supporting your boy. Let me know in the comments below, where do you rank Serang and what do you think of my list? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it, and I'll see you in the next one, boys. Later.